Video is very interesting because I've known for a while that Linux has been sold in stores for in the past for a bit, right? I didn't know they released a fucking TV commercial, so let's get into it. I forgot to do my Brave browser. 1 second, and I also gotta fucking adjust myself. And then I gotta do my web browser. Is just this? Oh, hold on. I gotta fucking. Yeah, it's exact. There we go. Alright. So this is a commercial for Mandrake Linux. In 1998, I did a brief Google search on them. Yeah, it was apparently a commercial in stores Linux distribution that actually got discontinued and is now run by a Brazilian community, and then they renamed it like Open Manovois or something, some sort of like Spanish name for Mandrake or whatever. So this is gonna be really interesting to see like Linux not only sold in stores. I knew that existed beforehand because stuff like Yggdrasil, but also like they made a commercial. The fuck?
We are bringing a lot of new people into the Linux fold.
This is so 90s. Oh my god. Was that a fucking penguin? Hold on. So we have a penguin here. Yeah. Nothing out of the ordinary.
A lot of new people into the Linux fold.
They just have a fucking penguin right here. What the fuck? What kind of fucking marketing budget do they have to be like, you know what we'll do to market our distro? Hire a penguin, run around in the fucking expo hall, be funny.
By putting Linux into the retail, we're spreading the word, we're helping more people experience it.
And they can play around with it, they can see what it's all about.
Of all the flavors of Linux in the market, one stands out. Macmillan's Mandrake distribution.
I like how, wait. I like how they say flavor, and they say distribution. They still haven't exactly figured out, like, what do we call different versions of Linux? Do we call it flavors? Do we go like what Ubuntu was doing? Ubuntu wasn't out by then. Ubuntu came out in like 2006. Or do we call it distros or distributions? Because, like, keep in mind, even back then, there was stuff like Debian. There was stuff like, Slackware, Soft Landing System, different sort of distributions came out even before the 2000s. So like, I'm trying to figure like, what do we call these again?
It was the editor's choice for product of the year at this year's Linux World. Macmillan's Mandrake.
Linux World. That is an event. I don't know if it's still going, but it's like Mac World, but Linux World.
Was praised for one thing in particular.
Yes.
Its breadth. The editors called it, quote, the distribution destined to please almost everyone.
And then Ubuntu came around and took that over.
The benefit that Macmillan brings to the software is bundling of the pieces together to help the end user get from where they are to being productive with Linux.
Yeah.
For example, in the starter kit, we offer the Complete Idiot's Guide, which takes them from...
Hey, I know the Complete Idiot's Guide. Brody has some copies of that.
Cradle to grave, really, with Linux.
For the more experienced user, right out of the box, they've got Apache Server, they've got productivity apps, they've got the KDE and GNOME graphical user interfaces.
They shipped it with both of them once, really? That's interesting, because I know KDE and GNOME don't really work together with their... Well, they have separate dependencies, so no, that isn't accurate, but like... It's just weird to be like, hey, here's bad DE, and then here's KDE, and it's like, what?
Everything that they're used to will be there.
Was that GIMP?
GNOME graphical user interfaces.
Was that GIMP?
Everything that they're used
to. Yeah, it's GIMP! Even back then, GIMP was still a thing that existed. And then, of course, we got Netscape over here, which turned to Firefox. Or got bought out by Firefox? I don't know. It was Firefox after.
We'll be there for them.
Macmillan has...
Oh my god! It's a little Tux plushie. I kind of want I want a Tux plushie. Where can I get one of those?
given to the Linux community broad distribution. You've seen Linux in places that that you might not otherwise have seen Linux. You've seen it in Best Buy and Costco and CompUSA in very broadly marketed ways.
I do wish that some distro did that again, where they just kind of put it in like retail places. That's how you get the most amount of people to try Linux in general, is like not selling it in big box anymore, because no one really does that anymore, but like the way you get more people to use Linux is putting it alongside Windows PCs. So like for the average grandma user, you'd have like laptops with like, here's Windows, and then here's Linux with KDE, here's Linux with GNOME, here's Linux with Cosmic when that comes out, you know, stuff like that. And gaming PCs as well that are shipped with that too. Doesn't matter what distro it is. It could be Ubuntu, Pop! OS, Fedora, I don't know, I don't care. But if you put it in front of average consumers who see, oh yeah, this is the Windows one, and then here's the Linux one, it does basically the same thing with a few modifications, that's where they're going to get a whole new audience and be like, alright, Linux is a fucking thing. It can game now? I don't know it can fucking game. And you got a new customer.
More base users, the more pressure there'll be for application vendors to port their applications to Linux. The more pressure will be on corporations to adopt Linux as a desktop choice.
They never did that. they never did that. Linux has always been, you gotta have workarounds to run most of your programs. Now, the most important programs, yeah, there's Linux versions, especially if it was like, if it's an open source program, like your web browser or, you know, whatever. But Steam's not open source, but Steam has a, you know, Linux version because they're using, you know, SteamOS. But there hasn't really been that sort of like, oh god, I am a generic Windows program dev, I need to put this on Linux. It's not exactly a thing, or else you'd have Foobar 2000 be on Linux, and I miss Foobar 2000 a lot, because Dead Beef kind of doesn't work. So, but it's very funny seeing the naivete of a lot of these, we're gonna make Linux big with this Mandrake Linux thing, and we're also going to make it so that everyone can get it. And it's still like a 5% market share.
Put it in their server farms and so forth.
It's important to note that we go back to Linux almost to its roots, to producing books based on the first Linux distributions, to our current state of producing...
Whoa, it's the Tux!
Probably the
He's going to eat you. He thinks you're a fish.
largest group of software, books, and internet offerings based on Linux available.
We tested the Macmillan offering side by side with several competitor products. One, it's less expensive, and two, Macmillan adds a lot of documentation, and they're able to leverage the fact.
Yeah, they have an actual book. There wasn't anything like the Arch Wiki or the Gentoo Wiki, or if there was, it was like very bare bones. No, when you wanted documentation for a program or an operating system, they give you a damn book.
The fact that they're one of the largest computer book publishers there are, so you get a lot for your money.
Our goal is really to be the one-stop shop for Linux. So whether you're looking for the operating system itself, applications, databases, utilities, games, books and electronic books, we really want to be all things Linux.
Man, they wanted to get old MS-DOS games running for it, huh? That's interesting, because I could see like those games running on a Linux machine, but like by the mid-2000s, like Vista and 7 came out, it kind of just stopped having support for a long while. And then, you know, of course, when Proton came out, it kind of fixed that back. But like, Windows dependencies ruined a lot of fucking gaming.
It bears bears noting that Macmillan's Mandrake distribution also won the Editor's Choice Award for server distribution. It's yet another reason that Macmillan USA is the place for Linux. I'm Angela Wethington, and thanks for watching.
For a limited time, register to win the complete Linux operating
I
system.
want to win a complete registered Linux copy.
www.placeforlinux.com or dialing toll-free 877.
All right, gotta call BRB. Boop 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 boop.
Or LNX.
That's a very interesting time capsule. They thought that they could take over the world with Linux. It's probably still gonna happen because Steam and Valve and Steam Deck, but like, it was still far too fucking early.